Hi, my name is Bob Taylor, and I'm your host for this segment of Our Ventura TV. I'm here today with my guest, Rachel Shur from UCAAN. Good morning, Rachel.
How are you doing?
Doing great. Good to have you here.
Yay!
UCAAN, what does UCAAN stand for?
UCAAN stands for United Cancer Advocacy Action Network. It's an organization I started after having stage 4 terminal rare cancer when I was 26 and again when I was 27.
Wow, so did you supposedly go into remission and then it came back?
Yeah.
Okay, and what are the chances of it coming back now?
Well, I've already reached my 10-year stem cell transplant birthday. So generally after 10 years, it's less likely, but it depends on a lot of different factors.
Okay, so most of the nonprofits I deal with do have a passion story behind them, and yours is the fact you had cancer. So obviously there was something missing when you had cancer, or something was missing from your life in the way of getting help. So what did you started UCAAN to do that?
Yeah, so what happened was when I was going through cancer and dealing with everything, how am I going to get to treatment? How should I be eating? What am I supposed to be doing differently? Is there something I can do that will make my outcome better? I had run into all these different problems, and I didn't understand why the organizations that were already in place were not providing the help for patients. I mean, like all of the pertinent information you need to know. Stuff like sugar feeds cancer, feeds tumors, causes inflammation in the body. So why would you want to eat it? Why would you want to have that at a cancer event? Why would you want to have it in the lobby of a cancer hospital? You don't, right? Or my teeth fell out from radiation and chemotherapy. I could have prevented it with a fluoride tray. Yes, my teeth fell out, and I have been quoted anywhere between $50,000, $60,000, and $100,000 to fix my teeth, to get implants.
Oh, wow.
Could have prevented it with a $200 fluoride tray or a fluoride varnish topical.
And that wasn't anything anybody told you, even
Nope.
though you tried the other cancer groups and stuff?
Nobody else told me, not even the radiation techs, not even the dentist I saw before I had the radiation and the chemotherapy.
Now, I've heard a lot of horror stories about some of the larger cancer groups, and I always tell everybody to Google whoever it is you're working with, because there's a lot of problems. But yours is 100% volunteer?
Yes.
So every penny you get goes something towards some kind of cancer stuff?
Some kind of program that we have, yes.
Okay. And so how do people call you? Are you recommended to people, or how do you get with your patients?
Generally, people find us online on online searches or word of mouth. There are a couple hospitals that refer us, but most of the larger cancer nonprofits don't refer people to us because we're smaller and grassroots, and they really only refer patients to the larger nonprofit organizations.
Right. We were referred to a couple of big ones too, and
they couldn't do anything?
Well, no. I mean, it just seemed like the red tape, everybody seemed willing to help, but nobody could do the things that we really necessarily needed to do. I couldn't work because I was carting my wife around full time, and it wasn't like there was money available for us or anything. And if I'd have known there was somebody to take her to UCLA or Santa Monica for her treatments, boy, I'd have been able to continue to work, which
Right.
I wasn't able to do the whole time she had cancer.
That's actually a common thing that I hear from patients is they have called other organizations, very large organizations that are supposed to be able to fill those gaps.
Right.
And in many cases they don't. And in many cases they don't anymore, and they haven't since like 2013. Several cancer organizations cut entire programs, financial assistance programs, to focus on research, which I get it, everybody wants a cure, but at what point do you say $154 billion industry for research, cancer research per year? At what point do you say, hold on a second, maybe we should also focus on the needs of the cancer patients? Because what happened was, and the whole reason I started UCAAN, and this is kind of a crazy story, I was volunteering for a very large cancer organization. I was doing speeches and I was sharing my story with people, and I always felt very disconnected. And that's one of the most important things for me in my life, is if I'm involved in something, I want to feel connected. I want to feel like it's family. I want to feel like it's a big team. I really want to be a part of something big. And my little brother said to me when I was 28, after I had my stem cell transplant, he said, why don't you start a nonprofit? And I said, I'm not that crazy. But I had reached this point where I said to this group, hey, I want to go to one of these marathons that I'm helping raise money for by getting these people in to raise money, right? And they said, you can't go unless you raise the $4,800 for the event.
Wow.
And I thought, I'm a volunteer and I'm a cancer survivor and I'm making things to help you guys sell to raise money and I'm getting these people in, but you won't allow me to go to an event. And I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard. And I thought, you know what? I'm done. Like, I was over it. So in 2009, I started working on starting UCAAN, which is United Cancer Advocacy Action Network. We're a 501c3 organization. We've had our nonprofit status since 2010. And when I started it, the first event I did was a date auction. And that was the same event that I told that other organization multiple times to try doing, and they never wanted to do it. So when I did it, I raised $5,700 with very low cost to put the event together.
Oh, that's great for your very first event that you
right?
were doing. Yeah.
Excited. It was so exciting. And then we used that money to start the nonprofit. But the funny thing was that large nonprofit decided they were going to do a date auction. And they wanted to give away their tickets to their date auction, which cost money to go, and ours was free. And they only raised $6,100. They did it at a fancy hotel, and they never did the event again. And what I had seen was we were this small grassroots organization that was doing something totally different than what all the other big guys were doing. And we were going to focus on helping the patients, finding any way possible to help the patients.
Well, you know, you said something that is so true with many organizations. If you get a national organization, or even a totally statewide organization, it's really hard for them to slow down and go into the local mode for a fundraiser. You know, it's one thing, I mean, you're local.
Right.
You can get your local friends, you can get your local people. They can only reach out to the cancer people, you know, which is a lot tougher. I'm not going to say tougher way for them to go because they have a lot more resources than you do, but yours is a lot more personal.
Right.
People tend to care more because it's your friends and family and other cancer survivors that you have helped in this area.
And all across the country.
You guys go all the way across the country?
Well, so we help people all across the country. So something you don't know, so I told you about the dental damage.
Right.
Okay, I only have my front teeth at 1 molar. I lost 10 teeth after my last radiation chemotherapy in 2008, started falling out 2010. So in 2011, I contacted all of these big cancer hospitals across the country to find out who provided preventative dental care information to patients. And I found this huge amount of hospitals that were all providing information to patients about how to prevent it from happening. So what I did was I drove across the country. I drove all the way around the country and I visited all of these top cancer centers, and we filmed it, and we still need someone to help us put it together.
Right.
Because we have a couple of cross-country trips that we've taken, but we found that these big cancer hospitals were providing information to patients that my cancer hospital didn't, and that other cancer hospitals don't.
Right.
And something as easy as a fluoride tray to fix and prevent your teeth from falling out, it's like, why would you not provide that information to someone?
Well, I would think that information would be provided before they give you chemo or before they...
It's not, though.
No, I know, and that's really a sad situation.
Right.
Do you think that the hospitals have to concentrate so much on the big picture, they forget some of the little picture?
I think in some cases they don't know all the extra little things. Most doctors are only taught 2 to 4 hours of nutrition their entire 8 years of college, which is why most of them probably don't know the connection between sugar and cancer. But there was one year that a medical professional said to me, no sugar, no patients. Okay, so if you don't know the connection between sugar and cancer and you just said no sugar, no patients, what do you think that means? If there was no sugar being given to patients, there would be no patients. Cancer. And there would be no cancer, right? So the fact that information is kind of there, but not really, and people don't really focus on that, or the fact that, you know, let's prevent our teeth from falling out, but the radiation techs don't provide that information, neither do the social workers or the nurses or any of the doctors. It's this even bigger gap than the gap that patients already have. And what I mean by that is, when patients call me and say, I've been diagnosed with this type of cancer, I have no idea what it is, I have no idea what the side effects, I call direct effects, are, I have no idea anything about my treatment options. The reality is they're only being given this tiny portion of information. You have this type of cancer. Okay, now what? What are my options? Do I have choices? Do I have to do chemotherapy and radiation? Are there alternative options for me? Are there clinical trials? What else do I need to know? And so the whole picture of UCAN is we think outside of the box. What are the different ways that we can get resources to patients? We have a personal fundraising program. We have information about how to prevent your teeth from falling out. It's our UCAN Carries in it restorative education program. And we have a lot of just general information that patients need to know before they go through chemotherapy and radiation, that they have options. It's like everything else that nobody else ever tells you.
So you're the encyclopedia of cancer information.
Pretty much, I try to think of us that way. We like to think of ourselves as concierge. So we're the cancer patient concierge.
Okay. And, boy, we're running out of time. But one thing I want to talk about real quickly is volunteers. I mean, you're nobody gets paid. I mean, you're all volunteer organization. You guys put on some decent events, and you did a lot of traveling. How many volunteers do you think help you? Or how many volunteers through the course of the year for different events and different things?
I'm trying to think. We only have a couple events throughout the year. We do our annual date auction every September. We do our gift wrapping during the holiday season at the Oak Shopping Center from December 1st to the 24th.
Okay, so anybody can drop off their gifts, you wrap them, and charge them $5 a gift? Or?
Well, we have like a whole pricing list, but we always need volunteers for that, and then we text people when we're done with their presents. Those are like the two main events. Occasionally we do smaller events throughout the year, but we always need volunteers.
Okay, while we're there, how do people get a hold of you?
Oh, I'll just give you all that information. They could go actually to our Facebook page, UCAAN.org. If you look up UCAN.org, you can find our Facebook page and all more information on there actually than our website. You can email me, UCAANORG@yahoo.com, or you can call me, 805-479-1032. You can even text me if you wanted to. You can even text me.
Okay, let's one more time. But give us that phone number just a little bit slower.
805-479-1032.
Okay, now we've only got about a minute left. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you think people out there should know about?
A lot of stuff.
Well, we got a minute.
Too much for a minute. But what I can tell you about UCAN is our goal is to eventually be able to pay staff, but not from the fundraising dollars.
Right.
So I'm working on starting a specialty foods company. So we're always looking for donations or investors for that side of the company. I make frozen dessert with no sugar, no dairy. I make fruit and veggie jerky, and I make keto chocolates. And we want to be able to sell that stuff so that we can raise money to pay staff at the nonprofit.
Or what about, is there anything like government grants out there to help you?
Well, we need a grant writer.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, because you're square one. I mean, you're right down in the bottom of stuff.
It's me and a couple volunteers. I have one volunteer that's volunteering through work leave, like medical leave.
Okay.
But she's the only one that's working every single day with me.
Right.
We just need more volunteers, more help, more people that want to get involved because they believe that cancer patients should be a priority. And our biggest thing is UCAN make cancer patients a priority. It's also UCAN makes cancer patients a priority.
Oh, that's great. We got to go, but thank you very much for being with us today, Rachel.
Thanks for having me.
It was great to have you.
You're so fabulous.
Thank you. My name is Bob Taylor. I've been here today with my guest, Rachel Shur from UCAN.